Good morning and welcome back into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We are going to break down everything you need to know and maybe some things you don't even need to know because we're going in depth on it on the Micah Parsons contracts saga for the Dallas Cowboys. We'll break down the Jones boys' comments, specifically Jerry, who may have made things worse yesterday. Micah's comments, where things sit with the contract talks, the agent influence, and of course, where things go next with off-season workouts days away for the Cowboys. Now, if you have anyone who is unclear, uncertain, doesn't know what this is going to look like, just needs clarity on the Micah Parsons contract situation, we've got you covered. Do me a favor, share today's video. We've done these everything you need to know videos before. They've always been pretty popular. Help us out by sharing today's show on social media. I want to begin with the newest stuff, the stuff that went down yesterday. The report from Clarence Hill was that Micah Parsons and Jerry agreed to a deal, but the agent wasn't involved. Therefore, they're not actually in agreement. Then Jerry Jones, NFL owners meetings, holds court and says, well, we're mostly in agreement on the years and the terms, and there's just some stuff we got to iron out. And then it kind of went downhill from there and culminated with Jerry Jones taking a shot at the agent, which he says was not a shot, but was. Then Micah, which this really wasn't a shot back, which some people treated it as such, Micah then backed his agent, which he's done before publicly on social media. So we're kind of back where we've been, really. There's no deal at this time because, as it turns out, you can't have a deal if the agent isn't involved. That's truly how this stuff works. And frankly, most of what came out publicly yesterday, minus Jerry's shot at the agent, wasn't really new. This is stuff that has been going on behind the scenes for more than 2 weeks now. That both Jerry and Steven have now confirmed this publicly, that they met with Micah Parsons without his agent. One of those meetings was on March 18th. Offers were made and exchanged, and I can now say that. I was asked not to tell it because, well, for reasons we'll get into here in a little bit. The offers were made and exchanged. The Cowboys love doing 5-year deals. Micah's on board with the 5-year deal. That's why that $200 million figure came out, because it's a 5-year deal. And that meeting and the hours-long meetings that I think was initially really broken by Mike Leslie of WFAA, good scoop by him. That meeting is why a lot of people thought they were close to a deal. Why Micah's brother was telling people that they were close to a deal. But there was a big issue that we mentioned the day after. The agent wasn't involved. And if the agent's not involved, you're not close to a deal. That's why Jane Slater and Clarence Hill and others were all reporting the Cowboys aren't close to a deal. And as we said then, it's the exact same graphic here, I have been through enough Cowboys contract talks to know one group can feel close and other groups don't. You've got multiple different layers to this. You've got not just Micah and Jerry. You got Steven. You got the agent. You got Adam Pacifica, who has spoken, by the way, with the agent in general. So we're kind of still stuck where we've been. Jerry and Micah might feel like they're in a pretty good spot. Not everyone does. So you're not actually close to a deal. So what is your confidence level, in general, that a Micah Parsons contract gets done? Scale it for me from 1 to 10 in the comment section of today's show. I remain confident here because the parties involved do want it to get done. They just don't show any urgency, which is frustrating for me and I think many of you. We know these types of contracts get messy. They get drama-filled. It's always something with the Cowboys. As we'll get into, the blame goes to different parties, but I think Jerry Jones actually made things worse yesterday. This was a good Jerry stop talking moment. He took a shot at Micah's, we can call him what he is, he's a super agent, David Mulugheta, who did $1 billion in player contracts last year, which is insane. Jerry said this, the agent is not a factor here or something to worry about, and I don't know his name. My point is, and I'm not trying to demean him, but this isn't about an agent. I'm not demeaning the agent. I'm just saying everyone can do this, and that's talk directly to a player. And frankly, most people who negotiate with me will tell me that that was better. Here's the thing, Jerry. That is the meaning. You can't say, I don't even know who the agent is, and act like it's kind of like you can't say no offense and then say something offensive. It actually is still offensive. And it's also a lie. Jerry knows who David Mulugheta is. Or the dementia said him, we got a bigger issue. Like, he knows who he is. He's done deals with Mulugheta, with Micah Parsons, and Malik Hooker, same agent. Frankly, I think that was a misstep. I think that was an error in decision-making from Jerry Jones as it relates to contract talks. We might not like it, and it is fine to not like the agent and be mad at him. That's kind of his job to an extent. The agent is involved. That is how this works. It is in the CBA that the agent is involved when the player asks him to be, which is what happened. Micah told Jerry to call the agent. No one's talked to the agent then. And by the way, Micah Parsons backed his agent again, let's read the tweet first. It says, David is the best, and I will not do any deal without David Mulugheta involved. Like anyone with good sense, I hired experts for a reason. There is no one I trust more when it comes to negotiating contracts than David. There will be no backdoors in this contract negotiation. First off, it kind of felt like it was sent by David Mulugheta, which is fine. And Micah's not wrong. You hire David Mulugheta to let David Mulugheta get you the most money possible. That is how this works. We don't have to like it, but this is the way it goes about it. And I also think that, look, Micah can say there were no backdoors in the contract negotiation. There were. He's also lying. Mulugheta's lying here. The agent impasse angle here is not new. This is what Micah Parsons put out on March 21st after a bunch of the drama. And maybe Mulugheta didn't know that Micah went and met with the Jones boys on the side. And this was, again, maybe it's Micah just kind of appealing to the agent, making sure the relationship is good. He said, some of these agents don't have the best interest for y'all, man. Wake up. David Mulugheta has been showing it time and time again. It's sad seeing some of these players get violated by teams because of lack of decency and effort by their agents. This all came out after Micah told Jerry to call his agent and talk terms. That came out after. That tweet came out after. We just didn't know about it publicly until now. Here's what's frustrating for me. This is actually not a hard contract to do. It's expensive, don't get me wrong. It's costly, but it's going to be a record-setting deal. We know that. We know it. The highest paid non-QB is Jamar Chase at $40.25 million per year. You got to clear that figure. The highest paid in terms of non-QBs in terms of guaranteed money is Myles Garrett, just north of $122.5 million. You beat both of those numbers, and you're probably making pretty good contract progress on it, right? The reason why I've shown this graphic next, the possible contract comp, there's a reason for it. It's not hard to do, and it's kind of what the Micah and Jerry have talked about. Highest paid per year, highest guaranteed money. Maybe the agent wants the number more on the right side, more per year, more total guaranteed money. You can haggle and negotiate on that. If everybody wanted to, this deal could be done in a day. If Micah Parsons didn't have an agent, he has one for a reason, it would be done already. The problem is, I think you have multiple sides that just don't want to take the first step for, I think, leverage on each of their ends, but one side has a little bit more leverage than the other, but it's just kind of feels like a weird peeing contest between all the sides, and that's just stupid as far as I'm concerned. A lot more on this to come. But we have the Micah decision pool. Pick the date Micah signs or is traded. You go to chatsports.com/Micah to see the entries. Again, I still think it's signs. You can Venmo me at WhatGoingDowney, $5 to enter, and it's a 50-50 split the pot for the winner. Several entries already in there. The Venmo and the link will be in the comments and description as well. Look, I don't want to, not passing blame on anybody here. I do want to make that clear. If you're Micah Parsons, you hire David Mulugheta for a reason, because that guy gets everybody paid. It is to get you the best possible deal. That is why you have an agent. That they are the lawyers of the football world. There's a lot of good lawyer jokes that also work for agents in the end. So to kind of ignore that I just think it's a little bit silly to not understand that's the case. And it kind of feels that's what Jerry is trying to do. Here's what Jerry had to say on the Micah contract. I am the one who has to sign the checks. And Mike is the one who has to agree to it. That's the straightest way to get there. The one writing the check and the one agreeing to talking it. I understand all of the issues. The problem here with Jerry is that is not how it works. We don't have to like it, but you must accept it now. The agent is not for us as fans. He is not the good guy for fans. Might be for the player, certainly not for the team. There is some inherent conflict there between the team and the agents because the agent is trying to get the player the most money possible, and the team shouldn't want to give the most money possible because then they can spend more elsewhere. There's a middle ground you can reach of what's fair for all parties involved, and sometimes you win a negotiation, sometimes you lose a negotiation. The problem is the Cowboys love trying to go around the agent. They have done that repeatedly. They tried it with Dez, and Dez shut that down. Dak did not fall for it. They've implied it worked with Tyron Smith. Tyron took the team-friendly stuff. They're kind of still chasing the Tyron Smith dragon from all those years ago. And if the player says you got to talk to my agent, you literally have to. It is in the CBA. And the big picture results here is it doesn't really work for them. What ends up happening is you have a pissed off agent. And that's how, you lose a bunch of players who all have the same agents, who maybe have an issue with the Cowboys. And that's not all the Cowboys' fault, that the agent doesn't want to be there, and how you lose a bunch of players in one offseason with the same agent on deals you could have afforded if you wanted to. And maybe there were one or two players that ended up leaving in the end. But why do you have to make it antagonistic? Why? Why are you trying to make things worse instead of trying to work with the guy you have to work with? That is what I find frustrating, annoying, and disappointing. Now, today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It is available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Springtime is here. Baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks lineups, or just go season-long football ones as well. I've got the less than on a variety of here. Jared Goff, less than passing yards. Travis Kelce, Jaden Daniels. Injuries for Kelce, age. Daniels might not run as much. I actually like the less thans a lot there. Go to PrizePicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's PrizePicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after that first $5 lineup. Now, to me, it almost feels like the Cowboys are kind of trying to challenge Micah as a leader before they're willing to do this giant contract. And that's kind of the key parts of why they're so unwilling to review things and do this deal with urgency here. Here's what Jerry Jones had to say. Micah has to be the player that he wants to be paid as. He has to be a tremendous leader for the Dallas Cowboys. He has the skill, he has the capacity, mentality. And so for us to kind of justify the dollars we're talking about with any basis, he has to literally lead the way. And he's so substantive that if he's halfway not leading, it's glaring. And so Micah has to really lead. And I think he's committed to doing that. This is not a surprise to me. I think that the April 7th date coming up with offseason workouts matters because the Cowboys are kind of, I don't know if dare is the right word, but they're kind of like challenging. Like, hey, you're going to show up and lead this time out of contract, which I think it's kind of stupid, but that's kind of where we're at. So will Micah show up to the offseason workouts when they get going on April 7th and OTAs in May? Y for yes and for no? Let me know in the comments of today's show. It's kind of like the one issue I have with Dallas' side is stuff like this. And it all comes back to the same root issue. They constantly say that they are in no rush. And they can say all they want about, it takes two sides to do a deal. That's accurate. That's fine. That's fair. But when they're also up there constantly saying, well, we don't see any urgency here. Okay, well, then you're saying that your side is the one that isn't willing to get things going here. And that bothers me. Again, this is what Jerry had to say. I don't view it as urgent at all. Using the basis that earlier you get something done, the cheaper, or they get something done, a lot of times they don't want to stay cheap. You might want to see a few more cards played. Version of the leaves falling. Not just with that particular negotiation, with the whole team. I know I'm kind of being a little defensive here, but the idea that the only success is getting a contract done at an early time is incorrect. I'd rather pay more and get it right than have paid less and screwed it up. You can screw it up pretty good. You can go too early and misread the athletic ability. You can misread the availability for the future. Look, that's fine. Are you worried about Micah Parsons' athletic ability? Are you worried about Micah Parsons' health? Like, if that works for DeRon Bland. That works for Jake Ferguson. How does that work for Micah Parsons? What are you waiting for with Micah Parsons? Is it you want to see him go do the leadership stuff? Okay, I guess. Kind of a weird thing when, I guess it's fine, actually. But the market's not going to go down. So, I get wanting to be right on the deal, but what is there to wait and be right on? Because here's the thing. You're already pretty much in agreement, per you, of what the deal looks like. So what else is there to wait for then with the offseason workout stuff? If you're already in agreement on roughly highest paid quarterback non-QB ever, what more is there to wait for? All you will do is to cost yourself more money. That there's the logic issue that I simply don't understand. Been a very long show, obviously. But we've got more videos for you. Every single day I'll have another one later this afternoon. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/@CowboysTV. So I want to wrap this up with this. Who's to blame? Because the deal should have been done already. It's not that hard to do. So who do we blame when Micah Parsons tells the Cowboys, go talk to my agent, the Cowboys don't call, and the agent does not talk to them? The answer is everybody. If the Cowboys really wanted this deal done, they could simply call the agent. And if the agent really wanted this deal to get done, he could simply call the Cowboys. And someone can stop the staring contest. And if Micah really wanted this deal done, he could fire the agent. Or tell him, hey, do the deal or else. It's on everybody. It's not 100% on one person, not zero on everybody else. Everyone gets blamed. I don't know if there's a true boogeyman here. It's just everyone doesn't really have the urgency that I think we want as fans. Look, the deal's going to get done. I am very confident in that because I've seen this play out a dozen times now. It'll be a record-setting deal. It'll be $40.5+ million and eye-popping guaranteed figures, and it would end up being more than it would have been if they did a record-setting deal early for the first time in a long time. And the Cowboys will end up getting more attention along the way, and they'll subscribe to their all news is good news, even though it's not. Because how many times have we seen this exact situation play out? We see it all the time. We know how this story ends. It's messy. It's sloppy. It's a borderline toxic relationship with their girlfriend, but they end up working it out in the end. So as annoying as it is, just be a chill guy. It'll play out eventually, and hopefully it's not as long taking as the CeeDee Lamb one last offseason.